In this video, we're going to show you the best way to use the IPS Utilization report to uncover threats against the corporate network that were detected but not prevented. Let's get started with IPS Utilization. If you're not using IPS, open Smart Console and make sure the IPS blade is enabled on the gateway object. If this is the first time you have enabled IPS, start with Detect Only. Open the Threat Prevention policy and select the Optimized profile. Inside the profile, make sure that IPS is enabled. If you're already using IPS with the basic profile, we recommend that you switch to Optimized. After 7 days or 24 hours, depending on how long you have been in Detect mode, open your web browser and connect to SmartView on your security management or domain management server. Go to Actions, Import Template, and import the IPS Utilization report. Scroll down to the report and open it. Set the time period for the last 7 days. Go to the Utilization Status page. Here you can see the number of protections in Detect for each of the gateways and the IPS protection status. These gateways encountered 59 attacks from 16 different sources related to those 12 protections. 14 hosts were attacked and the attack was not prevented. 12 IPS protections in the report are in Detect. The remainder of the protections, even though they might be in Detect, do not receive any hits. You can set the remainder to Prevent without any potential business impact. By moving to Prevent, you potentially reduce the load on the gateway. Now address those 12 protections that received hits. Examine these protections for those that will interrupt your business if you move to Prevent and those that will not. Look first at those protections which have a high hit count. For example, we see a Novell eDirectory HTTPS headers denial of service attack is at the top of the list. In 7 days, there were 12 hits on a directory service product from Novell. If you are not using this particular product, you can move to Prevent knowing it will have no business impact. But if you are using this product, you must now look at the direction of the attack. Scroll down to the next page of the report. Determine if these attacks are valid or should be excluded in the policy by looking at the direction of the attack, the number of hits, high or low, severity and confidence levels. Pay attention to direction, to where a malicious connection is coming from. If the attack is from the internet to the DMZ or internal network and the quantity of hits is reasonable, you should prevent it. If the attack is from the internal network to the internet, meaning traffic from the internal network was tagged as malicious, determine if the destination is a valid resource related to your business. If not, and the number of hits is low, consider moving to Prevent. But if the attack originates from an internal segment or zone to another internal segment or zone of the network, and it seems like an east-west attack between different hosts, you must investigate the source every time and verify that there will be no business impact if you switch to Prevent. For example, the top entry shows 1 source, 1 destination, and 8 hits with medium and above severity and confidence levels. Since the source and destination IP addresses are on the same private segment, the attack is internal to internal. From this you could conclude that this is not a false positive, but a genuine attack, regardless of the low hit count. However, before you block the source, you must investigate the IP address. If the source is your own security scanner, create an exception. The source could also be your Security Operations Center analyst testing for vulnerabilities, in which case keep the protection in Detect Only. Now examine the entries with lower hit counts. Here, an internal IP is attacking a target on this server segment, trying to exploit in MS SQL Server a buffer overflow vulnerability. The attack took place only twice, just 2 hits. You can set the protection to Prevent. There will be no serious impact because of the low number of hits. Still, you must investigate the source of this attack for a possible infected host. For all other entries in the report, examine the number of hits and the direction of attack for internal to external and external to internal, move to prevent. Look at the protection name to understand what the attacker was trying to accomplish. For example, exploit a known vulnerability. Look for a pattern of repeat attacks from the same source. If the attack turns out to be a valid action, initiated by a security scanner or cybersecurity personnel, move the protection to prevent and add an exception for SOC operations. If the attack is not a false positive, move the protection to prevent. Now open the gateway object. If you're using detect only, move the IPS activation mode of the blade to according to threat prevention policy. Most of the protections are now in prevent with no potential business impact. Finally, in the Logs and Monitor view, configure the report to generate every day and be sent by email to the relevant players. Click on the report, click Actions, click Schedule PDF, and configure time and email recipients. In this video, we showed you the best way to use the IPS Utilization report to uncover threats against the corporate network on a daily basis. That's it for now, and thanks for watching.